Welcome to the UrbanOne 2018 show with your host, Wayne Johnson, the talk show dedicated to uplifting and motivating individuals from all walks of life. Each week, we have the privilege of hosting incredible guests who provide incredible insights on a diverse range of topics. From local influencers to esteemed regional and national figures, they will share their experiences and wisdom to ignite positive change in our communities. Get ready for another captivating episode of the UrbanOne 2018 show with your host, Wayne Johnson. Let's embark on this journey of inspiration together.
Wow. Hey, welcome everyone. We have an exciting guest with us today, CEO of the Daily Gospel Network talk show and podcast, Mr. George Sanders. And I'm telling you, we're going to be in for an exciting time today. Another episode of UrbanOne 2018. I'm your host, Wayne Johnson, and thank you for joining us today. And so we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back to get started with our interview. And thank you guys for joining us today.
Welcome to the UrbanOne 2018 show with your host, Wayne Johnson, the talk show dedicated to uplifting and motivating individuals from all walks of life. Each week, we have the privilege of hosting incredible guests who provide incredible insights on a diverse range of topics. From local influencers to esteemed regional and national figures, they will share their experiences and wisdom to ignite positive change in our communities. Get ready for another captivating episode of the UrbanOne 2018 show with your host, Wayne Johnson. Let's embark on this journey of inspiration together.
Wow, welcome back. I have my friend, Mr. George Sanders with us today. It's an honor. Hey, this is my mentor, my coach. George, hey, man, it's glad to have you on the set today.
Well, it's wonderful to be here, sir. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate that.
I've been waiting on this great opportunity for a minute. And so, like I said, he's the CEO of the Daily Gospel Network talk show and podcast. This guy's awesome. I think we met about maybe 2.5, 3 years ago, and George really transformed and changed my life. And so, George, with no further ado, could you introduce yourself to our audience?
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate, as I said, being on your show. This is kind of a first for me. You and I have been waiting to do this for quite some time. I've had the pleasure and the privilege of interviewing you a few times, so this is certainly a treat for me. Well, I'm George Sanders. I'm a old country boy from a little place in Louisiana called Roseland, Louisiana, and just had really humble upbringings, and was able to kind of work my way into this media field. But I am a father of three. I am a husband to a beautiful wife, Valencia Richardson Sanders, and I have three wonderful kids. And I just appreciate being in family and being able to work, as I always say, for the greatest boss in the world, because I have the Daily Gospel Network, and I work for our Savior, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell, Bishop. I don't want to get too wordy here.
Hey, look here. All right, we just honored to have you today. And so we got three questions we're going to ask. And our first question is going to be, how did you get started in the business? And then I want you to talk about the career path, and what would you tell someone that's just getting started in the business? And then after that, we'll take a commercial break, and then we'll go into our third and last question. I want you to talk about, on the last question, how important it is to have a mentor and a coach from a personal and a business positional standpoint. I think that will be great, man. I tell you, I'm just telling you guys, put your seatbelt on, because why? George is going to give us some information and some insight that will transform your business. Then that way, he gives you an opportunity to come under him as a mentor and a coach, and some teaching that he's done. It's going to bring you to another place of understanding how business operate. So with no further ado, we'll go to our first question. How did you get started in the business, and what caused you to be to get to the place where you are today?
Well, that's an awesome question. That answer has quite a few turns in it, a couple of corners, and been in a couple of bends here. But to make it a short story, I have always had an interest in media and doing video. For the longest, I'd been literally behind the scenes so much in it. I have been a person that has sold advertising for one of the largest billboard companies in America. I sold advertising for AT&T. I've sold advertising for one of the largest radio conglomerates in the world. And my last stint for in terms of working for someone, I happened to work for a private production company, and we were producing a sports television show, which
Okay.
at my juncture, I thought it was the best job in the world. I wasn't going to leave there. It was the greatest situation. I had made more money than I'd ever made in my life doing the thing that I loved. I'm a sports fanatic, and I was doing this sports show, and it was the greatest thing. But that's not what God had planned for me, because if He did, I'd still be there. And I jokingly say that Jesus Himself would have to dynamite me out of that job before I would leave. I met some of my sports icons and figures and guys I idolized, to great political figures I met on the show. We were in 66 markets. And just one day I was laid off from the job. And then I was kind of put in a position to kind of figure out what it was I was going to do. During the entire time, I had this company called the Daily Gospel Network. Now, the Daily Gospel Network wasn't intended, in terms of how I saw it, Bishop, to be a network.
Come on now.
It was supposed to be a network of pastors where I could teach and train them about marketing. And then there was this thing that was called COVID that came along. And all the pastors that we were working with, we were doing websites for them and graphics and things of that nature. They would come to me and say, "Hey, George, look, the doors of the sanctuaries are closed. We need to get more exposure. How can we do this?" And so, I mean, just clear as day, when you're talking about God speaking to you, it was, you're going to start a television network. And I spoke back to God and I said, "I've never done this before. You can't be talking to me." And so I said,
I know the feeling.
"You better have somebody else for this job." But no, he said, "No, it's you." And I remember telling my oldest daughter, I said, "You know what we about to do?" And she said, "What's that, Dad?" I said, "We're going to start a television network." And she didn't even respond. Whatever it was she was doing, I think she was loading dishes in the dishwasher or something.
Yeah.
And I said, "Did you hear what I said?" She said, "Well, what are you waiting on?" It wasn't shocking to her, but it was shocking to me. And she said, "What are you waiting on?" And from that, let me tell you something, Bishop. I've been involved in plenty of businesses. And typically the beginning of a business is really the most difficult part. It's really the heavy lifting, the most heavy lifting that you're going to do in the business. But I found this, that God was ordering the path and laying the path so simple and effortlessly. Or let me say it like this: more than any other business that I've been involved in. He presented people to me and opportunities to me that I didn't have to go, searching for. He presented them to me. And literally less than a month from getting that revelation, we started the Daily Gospel Network. We've been here for 4 years, and it's been a treat. I have the honor and the privilege of meeting great men and women of God, such as yourself, and been able to forge friendships. Just as we're friends, we're dear friends now. And 2.5 years ago, I didn't know you from Adam, so to speak. And here we are. We converse 2 or 3 times a week and share great things. And I just appreciate you for the man that you are, the man of God that you are. And it's just been a ride. But the main thing I tell people is this: when God gives you a vision, don't second guess it. Pray, meditate, understand what He is telling you and what the order is. And I promise you, if you, I had this discussion the other day. If you are unlike that moment that Peter had, where you don't take your eye off of Him, if you just keep moving ahead, you focus on Him, He's going to order your path. And I promise you, it's going to be the right thing. That doesn't mean that you won't have a few obstacles and bumps in the road. I'm not saying that. because in any business, in any endeavor of this magnitude, you're going to have them. But being of, what did he tell Peter? Oh, ye of little faith, right?
Yeah.
That we don't have to doubt. We understand that, look, everything is happening for a particular reason, an anointed reason, and an anointed time, and that we just have to forge through, and these things will work out. But you got to put in some work now, and that's how we started the Daily Gospel Network. And 4 years, we've had more than 1,000 ministries on the network. We currently have 380 some ministries on the network, and it's just a wonderful place to be. And like I said, I work for the greatest boss that has ever been in the history of these place that we call planet Earth.
Oh man, that's awesome. Because I was, because like when I met you, like sometimes I tell my story. I was trying to be a freight broker, and I didn't really understand the skill set and the things that was needed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, well, Lord, I don't have that. But anyway, I remember that day I got a text message inviting me to one of your training classes. And I was like, man, no, I'm not going, man. I don't know about that. Man, they just trying to get my money, man. And so I was kind of hesitant about doing that, And so I guess it was the Lord, like you said, same thing here. When He does something, there's no toil in it. You don't have to toil for it. You don't have to fight to make it happen, because it's ordained by Him to bring you to the place He
That's
ordained
right.
before the foundation of the world. And so when I came in, and I clicked on that Zoom link and came in there and started listening to what you were saying, I said, man, this is what I've been looking for. I like, wow. I said, Lord, thank you. And so we started from there, and it just transformed my life. And I just want to say this before I give it back to you. When we're talking about the next question, talking about the career path, and what would you tell someone that just getting started in the business? And from George's perspective, I'm going to let him answer that question after I finish this point. I would tell you this: if you're being led there, this is what's going to happen to you if you're trying to, start and get there. When you're going to start hearing some information, your mind, your subconscious mind is going to try to protect you. It's going to protect you. You're going to say, it's going to say, overload, too much information, terms and knowledge, terms and things that's being said. I have no clue what they're talking about. But let me tell you something. Do not stop. Because why? Let me tell you something. If you stay there long enough, let me tell you something. It took me about 4 months of continually, classes were going on 2 or 3 times a week, and I was at every class. I didn't miss a class. Like George said, you got to put the work in. And after 4 months, let me tell you something. It's like a light bulb came on, and I could see everything that George was telling me, and it transformed my life. And so let's go to our second question, George. Let you talk about the career path, and we just piggybacked off a little bit. And what would you tell somebody that's just getting started? Because criticism going to come, like you say, some failures are going to come. You're going to get knocked down. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, the first thing I would tell them, Bishop, is to invest in yourself. There's something that I tell everyone. Listen, if you don't invest into you, you can't expect others to invest in you. And so invest in yourself. I get it. Most programs cost something, right? Find the one that fits your budget. Find the one that fits what you're looking to accomplish. But we live in a society now where your education doesn't have to come from the conventional means. Maybe 20, 30 years ago, if you wanted to be specialized in something, you'd have to go to a college or a vo-tech school or a trade school. There are people online that teach the very thing that you're trying to learn. And so you just have to find the right coach and the right mentor. First, determine what it is that you want to accomplish. Now, as it pertains to being in the world of media, maybe you want to have your own talk show or podcast. So first and foremost, this is not a endorsement for the Daily Gospel Network, but I'm merely saying there are tons of streaming networks out there now that are looking for content. So if you are a person that say, I think I have, I've been wanting to do this, or I've always thought about doing this, there are a number of people out here aside from me, and this is not me trying to endorse myself, but there are a number of people that teach this sort of thing. Find and research the ones that kind of fit you, right? George Sanders may not fit you in terms of a coach, but some other person might be, that might go at your speed and might have this sort of understanding and resonate with you. Yeah. But I would tell you, don't be afraid to invest in yourself. Now, listen, I know I used to have this saying, if it's free, give me 3, right? but listen, you got to invest in yourself. The things that you're trying to get for free out there, you treat them just that. When you have a little bit of what, as they say, skin in the game, then you are more apt to show up. I've done tons of free workshops. Yeah. And when I have these free workshops, Bishop, I'm going to tell you, I may get 500 people to sign up. But when it comes to the day of, well, then I may be lucky to get 50 to 80 people that are actually there. Why? Because there's no commitment. They haven't invested anything. All right. Okay. And conversely, I've had workshops where people have paid as little as $97 or $47. And if I get 300 people to sign up for that, well, guess what? I'm going to have about 250, 280 show up. Why? Because they know they've invested in something and they're looking for a return. And so when you're on this career path, whatever it may be, if you, like I said, if you decide that talk shows and podcasts are what you want to do, well, then find the right person. But certainly you're going to have to invest in yourself. And that doesn't necessarily mean financial, but a lot of times it does. It's a combination of that. But you're going to have to take the energy and the time and the learning. Bishop, he gave us an example. 4 months. He was coming to my classes 1 and 2, sometimes 3 times a week when I'd have my trainings. And then it was something that was said in one of those trainings that clicked, which made all of those 4 months come together. For some, it's shorter. For some, it's longer. For some people, it's going to be 8 months before that thing clicks. But you know how I say it, Bishop. You got to be committed. You got to be focused. And you got to be consistent. So Bishop was committed. He paid money to be a part of my program, right? He was focused because he was coming 1, 2, 3 times a week, right? And then he was consistent because he was doing it every week, and it has paid off. And here I am, feeling like a proud father here. I'm being interviewed on his very show. This is wow. What do you say? Life is full circle here. Look at here. And that's amazing. And it's something that I have to take pause at because I'm being interviewed from a person who has taken my course. And this is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So thank you, sir. You made my day here. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, hey, thank you, Coach. Man, I tell you, this is awesome information. And I just want to expose my audience and my Facebook audience and YouTube audience. And some people are, that's on X. Man, let me tell you something. It's the transformation. It's the time and the season that you're listening to something that today is going to transform your life. Also, the advice that George give you, because he'd been in sales for 30-something years. He has a lot of strengths there. He know how to deal with people. All his skill sets are very professional, top of the line, and it's going to launch you into your career path and help you be successful. And I just want to thank you again and again. So right now we're going to take another commercial break, and we'll be right back. And we're going to get into our last question, talking about how important it is to have a mentor and a coach from what personal and what business position. We'll be right back.
Looking for inspiration, motivation, and the good news of Jesus Christ? Look no further. The Daily Gospel Network has what you need. With more than 300 ministries from all over the country broadcasting every week, you're sure to get your dose of spirit-filled encouragement from the great programs on the Daily Gospel Network. Catch the Daily Gospel Network on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, all mobile devices, and the internet.
Oh man, welcome back. I'm your host, Wayne Johnson, UrbanOne 2018. Like I said, I got our special guest here today, Mr. George Sanders, with the CEO of the Daily Gospel Network, our talk show and podcast host. So man, it's been exciting. He's laying down some good information for you. So we're going to get into our final question here today with George, and the final question is talking about how important it is to have a mentor and a coach from a personal and a business position or standpoint.
Well, that's an exceptional question, and I get this question quite often. Um, Mentorship is important. I myself have mentors, people that mentor me on a personal level as well as a business level, even in terms of podcasting, maybe that work with me on how to present myself on camera and things of that nature. And then I funnel that down to my own mentees. But one of the things that I would say in terms of the importance of it is, I'll give you an example. As great as Michael Jordan was
Yeah.
on the court, Michael Jordan had a shooting coach.
Right.
As great as Tiger Woods has been on that golf course, Tiger Woods himself had a golf coach. Listen, you are never too whatever to learn. It is important to get the outside perspective. A lot of times we hear, you can't see the forest for the trees, meaning sometimes you're too close to the situation to be able to improve yourself.
Wow.
Everyone
Awesome.
needs a coach. Now, it goes back to what I was saying before. When you're on this career path, it's about finding the person that works for you, the person that fits you, that has the patience that you're looking for, that maybe the budget that you're looking for. I've had coaches that I've paid upwards of $20,000 for. There are some coaches that I would like to reach out to that are into the $100,000 range, but I'm still working myself to
Myron Golden, huh?
So I'm trying to, I think that may be a family decision I have to make. My wife's like, before you spend $100,000, we need to have a sit down. But I spent literally hundreds of thousands of dollars in mentorship. I have the gentleman that taught me Facebook advertising or social media advertising. I paid somewhere years and years ago, probably 10 plus years ago, I paid $20,000 for that program. And I will tell you this, at the time, I didn't have $20,000. And if I can be fully transparent, I didn't have anything close to $20,000. And I called the gentleman up and I said, hey, listen, I really, I just closed one of my businesses. In fact, I was in debt, to be fully transparent. And I called the gentleman up with the class. I said, I have to be in your class. He says, well, that's very easy. It's $20,000. I said, well, that's the problem. I don't have 20,000. I said, do you have a payment plan? He says, well, we don't offer a payment plan. He says, but what I will do for you, I'll break it up into 2 payments.
Wow.
And guess what? 10,000, 20,000. It didn't matter. I didn't have either one of them. But I went on a mission. I said, can you give me a little time? I went on a mission to get that $10,000. And let me tell you something. That $20,000 that I ultimately paid him has paid off. I'm talking about 20, 30, 50 times more than that. Not only from my standpoint, but what I've taught my students about Facebook and Instagram advertising that has made them money. So it is exponentially. But what it came down to, the fact was I needed someone to teach me. I could have possibly watched a whole bunch of YouTube deals, and I'm not. I learned a lot from YouTube and what YouTube teaches. But let me tell you something. It's nothing like being able to have a person that can allow you to learn from their experiences, what they've done, so that you can avoid the pitfalls, and then you can accentuate whatever the strengths that you have and the successes that they've had, that where they can say, hey, listen, George, here's what you need to do. Don't do that because that costs me money. Don't do that because that costs me time. Don't do that because that costs me headache and heartache. Take this path and you're going to get there sooner. And that, what you're paying for is their expertise, which saves you the heartache, the money, the time, and all of those things so that you can get to where you're trying to go a lot sooner.
Wow. 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 I mean, excellent. I mean, because, yeah, so true. Because why? So like in investment, I was just telling George the other day, I upgraded a computer because why? I have a computer, but it's an i5. So I'm getting to a little editing here. So these skill sets and these trainings will move you from one place to another. I mean,
Right.
I was telling a door may open here, but it's connected to several other doors that's going to take you to a higher level of success and understanding in business. Because communication skills, I think what Myron said, there are 4 levels of entrepreneurship, the imagination, communication, implementation, and then the work begins to start. And so
That's
he
right.
talks about the salary range in two and all through all 4 of those areas. But like say imagination, imagination means somebody was this StreamYard was in somebody's mind,
That's right.
imagination. Come on now. And then they begin to think about it. And so then they put it on paper. Then they had to communicate it to somebody, a friend or whatever. And they said, hey, then they saw it could be done. And so then they start implementing, start running the test. And then now they got to the final stages where the work is being done. I'm working it, George working it. And so training is coming in. So here we are today, understanding that, let me click back. I'm gonna talk in the background, but I just want to go to the shot right here. I just want to see that shot in that background where George got, man, that's tight. That's the kind of thing you're going to be introduced to, and showing you how to look at a shot, how to take a shot, understanding what's entailed to get a shot like that, and create some professional looking stuff that's gonna what boom, make it pop. And so here it is. Once you learn that skill set, I'm just trying to tell you, it's going to take you to a whole different level, because it has transformed my life, and it makes you dig deep. And now when you catch that eye from a trained eye, and so you start looking for that thing, so now you're being able to see it. Because the main thing I want to tell you today, you're going to skill sets and knowledge are going to be coming to you when you come to the training, but you're not going to know that you got it. It may take you like 3 or 4 months. And then once you start doing it on your own, you'll be like, wow. And then once you start implementing and taking your work to other people, man, they're gonna be like, man, they're gonna be like, yeah, just like I was like, wow, come on, man. And you'll be taking a step back. So your training and skill set and knowledge is already embedded in you from the trainer or from the coach. And so I mean, great interview today. Some great stuff. And so I just want to shed a little light on that career path that you choose. It's going to be communication, imagination. You got to you're going to know that some days, hey man, you may get knocked down, but like Les Brown said, if life knocked you down, and it will, he said, if you can look up, you can get up.
That's right.
So I've been knocked down a few times. I got up, man. Let me tell you something. And I kept encouraging myself, because I knew that the path was there. And I always say, hey man, look here, God didn't put me with George for nothing. Come on now. So you got to know that to be a true fact. When God placed you with a person, that means to tell you that you're going to that place that he's going. So, oh man. So this coach here, George said, so I would tell him, George, a little bit about when you told us about you was going to start a television network in all 50 states. And that's where WJM TV, my television network, came through my mentor, George Sanders. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we're looking in 2025. We're going to launch. We're going to start in major cities, and our goal is by the year 2028, 29 to have a Christian network in every state. And what we want to do is, our goal really is to bring back church to the local community. Right now, as the Daily Gospel Network operates, we're more of a national entity. And we really want to get back to church and the local communities, and where we can galvanize local businesses with churches, local people with local churches, so that we can get people going back to church. Listen, from a person who who owns the Daily Gospel Network. I love it that people stream and watch church on television. But that's one thing. But when we're talking about saving souls and communication with human beings, I believe that the personal touch is important. God has us where we are to build relationships with each other. Now, listen, if Bishop is in Alabama and I'm in Louisiana and we got to come together on StreamYard, well, hallelujah, that's a wonderful thing. And we can FaceTime each other and all that stuff. That's great. But for God's sakes, if I live in the same town that this brother lives in, we should be breaking bread together. We should be going to church together. We should be worshiping together. We should be doing those things. And I think, it's one of the reasons why the local church is right now, for lack of a better word, suffering, that we don't have the local people that they used to partake in churches. We're not doing that anymore. When I was a kid and we were going to church, the church was everything. If you got laid off from your job, go talk to the pastor. If you were having marital problems, go talk to the pastor. If the money was a little light and you had to pay your light bill, go to the church. It was a resource to help. And so I just believe we need to get back to that. And our endeavor to put the Daily Gospel Network in the local markets is to incentivize more people to go back to church. And that's our goal. And we're going to make it happen. We're going to plant. Our goal is to plant at least 20 churches, 20 networks in the market in 2025. That's what our goal is. We want to do an average of about 2 a month, and we'll probably start that in February. Yeah.
Yes. Wow. You heard it here first at UrbanOne 2018. And so if you have an idea or something that you want to get involved with, like I said, you can reach out to me as well, or either, Daily Gospel Network. And so we just so honored to have George Sanders here, visionary, and so vision envisions people. And so when he was telling us about that vision, it created a hunger and thirst in me, because here's the mentor, here's the coach, relating a vision. And so, well, here's the provision, so, hey man, if it put a taste in my mouth for something like that, and I think it was me and 7 or 8 other people that wanted to, step into that water, step into this environment. And so I stepped into it, man. I think February, and I didn't know what I was doing. So here it is 18 months later, man. It's just a door has opened. My understanding has come open, and God has put some people in my life that begin to show me some things that I did not understand. But I can't go back to that mentoring coach. Man, I'm telling you, you got to have that, because if you want to be successful in this time, this season, you want to become very, I want to use the term wealthy, but yeah, in the upper middle class or whatever. It's there for the taking, because why? When you advance in life, let me tell you something. Always look up to somebody that who you want to be. And so I like I said, I would tell us. So George inspired me so much. You know how we church folk think, So I said, George, send me information. I'm going to give you I gave George an offering.
That's right.
I gave him an offering because I said, man, hey, you have changed my life. And so my wife sees the transformation. My grammar has changed. My mentality has changed. And I'm just talking because once you get in here, like George was telling us how much, he was, this products and services, his coaching, and then the commercials that he was doing, And so he was telling how much that those products were costing. He was selling it to the public. And so here am I, man. I don't even have enough confidence in myself. So I got a $25 mentality. Hey, man. Hey, would you? I'm trying to do. How much? Yeah, $25. 25, because I was so afraid to even approach anybody for a $500 or $1,000 product or service with a commercial. Man, that was just my mind. I couldn't wrap my head around that. But let me tell you something. So I've changed from that little chihuahua. I turned into a pit bull. Come on. Because when you got good things, that's what he kept telling me. He said, your service and the quality of what I give you is way more than what you invested in.
That's right.
And so when when you pull up there and that Mercedes, that whatever 550 or whatever you are paying for, Maserati or whatever, the investment and the price that you're getting for is well worth it. And so what I'm trying to tell you, that background that George has, the communication skill set and the things that he's trained in and began to teach people like myself, I just had to bring him home, man. This guy's awesome, man. So here it is, young guys. We trying to bring this thing into your homes. We're trying to show you moms, give your kids a leg up and just put them in this class with George. And sometimes I do some training myself. So we're here today. Whatever is in George's life, man, I'm telling you, it's in my life. So television network. I got, and so success. And so here it is. So we're so glad to have him here today. And so we're going to throw out one more commercial. These commercials that you are seeing, the first three that you saw, well, hey, they came from the Daily Gospel Network. Come on, people, come on now. So we're going to show you some quality things, and so we're here today just from a business perspective, just from a perspective that we can show you and teach you how to do some things. Like George talked about the Facebook, Instagram ads. Man, I was afraid to do those ads. I was afraid, YouTube ads. And so I started running my YouTube ads, and my YouTube channel took off a year ago. I had 170 subscribers in August of last year, and within about 4 months running ads, man, my subscription went up. I had 10,000 people subscribing to my YouTube channel. And you know what I did? I said, man, there's somebody to hack my account. They playing a trick on me. And man, so I went up there, and I think it went to 12,000, and it went up to 14,000 because and then now I think it's down to 13,000, a little bit, 800 or something like that. I'm just telling you, man, this is the game, and it's here, and it's an investment. And so, George, what else would you say to somebody?
Well, life is short, right? And you don't want to look back and say woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? We live in a society now. We live in an era with technology that just about anything that you're thinking about, you can do. This very thing, having a television network, 30 years ago, I couldn't have dreamt of something like that. Because of the technologies that we have today, because of the ease of the technologies, we're able to do it. And we're able to do it at a fraction of the cost of what it used to cost. I'm not saying that it's cheap, but what I'm saying is that before, in order to do something like this, you would have to have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to do something like this. And now you can do it at a fraction of that cost. And merely what I would tell you is listen, if it's already in your mind, you owe it to yourself to start moving in that direction. Here's what I want you to think about. If anything in your life you've ever thought about doing, whether it was starting a podcast, writing a book, going back to college, whatever that thing is that you've dreamt of, you think about, even if you put it to the side, it's going to come back to you at some point. Why not do it now so that you can look 3 years down the road and you've completed and you've accomplished that thing? I was listening to Jeff Bezos talk the other day. They were talking about the Amazon quarterly reports. And they were saying that these are some of the best quarters that Amazon has had. And they said, what did you do in 2024? What have you done this year to attain these numbers? He said, the results of what you see today is what we've done 3 years ago, right? You have to plant the seed. You have to you have to just be out there toiling your field, right? And then there is that time for harvest. This man, who is a multi-billionaire, one of the richest people that walk the planet, said the very thing that he is getting advantage today of, the harvesting today, was something that he did 3 years ago. And if you think about your life, the things that you have right now are not due to something you just did yesterday. Maybe you have a nice car in the driveway. Maybe you have a nice home, all of those things. those come from years of working to attain those things. Maybe you're not in the place that you want to be. That's also a result of what you did 2-3 years ago, if you get where I'm coming from, right? So start now. If you have that vision inside of you, if you have those thoughts inside of you that I want to go back to college, I want to start a podcast, I want to write a book, I want to start a business.
Yeah.
Get busy living or get busy dying. You take the pick.
That's pretty cool. Get busy living or get busy dying. You take the choice is yours. Oh,
That's
come
right.
on, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
God has given us these. Listen, I promise you, he has not planted that thought in your head for nothing. Now, what you have to do is seek the proper discernment, however it is that you pray or however you seek clarity, do that. And if you haven't created that methodology in your life, maybe talk to your local pastor and say, hey, listen, I get these thoughts, I get these visions, I get these ideas. I just don't know. What would you suggest? And that may be your opening to start going to a church. That may be your opening to forge a relationship with a local pastor. Just saying. Maybe.
Just maybe.
Just maybe.
Well, people, you got your money's worth today, as George say, and I took that little cliche and I use it now. Hey, you got your money's worth today. And so we've been here about a little over 41 minutes. And so that concludes our interview today. And so I'm so excited and thankful. And so we're going to close out with a little small commercial. We'll take this commercial and like to say thank you for joining us today. If you want some information, you can reach out to me, inbox me, and I'll be glad to introduce you to my mentor, my coach. And George, I want to thank you again for being with us. God bless you and take care.
Welcome everyone to the UrbanOne 2018 show. I'm your host, Wayne Johnson, and I'm thrilled to have you here with me today. As we embark on this exciting journey together, I want to let you know that this show is all about you. The topics, the questions, and the ideas that matter most to you. So whether you're a curious mind looking to learn something new, a seasoned professional seeking a fresh perspective, or just someone who loves good conversation, you're in the right place. Each episode of the UrbanOne 2018 show is designed to bring you a mix of thought-provoking interviews with some of the brightest minds in the industry. We'll explore the issues that are shaping our world today and uncover the trends that will shape our future. So sit back, relax, and let's dive right in. The UrbanOne 2018 show is here to guide you through the complexities of modern life and help you make sense of the world around you. Thanks for tuning in, and let's get started.
Wow. Thank you.